We are getting to the business end of Season 25 here in the minor league. AS Paris currently with a 4-point lead at the top of the table. North Shore United going to have to try and find some way to make up that difference. Then at the other end, of course, Masks Cray and Rapid Magyar currently favorites to go down, but Masks with a chance to pull Kapstad back down with them. Hello everyone, I'm Metafiction, and we've got a set of very intriguing matchups today. As I say, FC Kapstad taking on Masks Sacré. Kapstad so far able to avoid the relegation battle, but Masks could move very close to them, put some pressure on with a win. Later on, we'll also have Krungtep taking on the league leaders, as I said, AS Paris, and then Rapid Magyar, currently last in the table, will take on North Shore United, who need a win in order to keep pace with Paris. First up in South Africa, it is Kapstad taking on Masks Sacré. Teams in relatively poor form as of late. A win would go a long way to boosting their respective quests. There you see the table. Masks would move within 2 points of Kapstad with a win, whereas Kapstad with a win would all but relegate both Magyar and Masks. A lot at stake here today, not all of it for the teams on the pitch. We are underway here in Cape Town. Wolf with the throw-in. Vantabens up the middle. Ashworth lays it off to Peixoto. And Saint Louis nicks it off of Peixoto very ably. Vest with the long ball. Worked out to Rossini. Rossini squares it to Cliffgate. Takes the shot. Carlac Cliffgate with a heater past the goalie to make it 1-0 within 2 minutes. Well, this is just excellent ball passing, ball work here by Masks Sacré. Cliffgate did very well to get open. And what a finish that was. Now the deep throw for Kapstad, but it's intercepted by, I believe that was Karras. Now Saint Louis hits it up the line. Falls to Lamb. Lamb to the end line, crosses, and Jones able to claim it out of the air. Now the long ball. Headed down for Fantabens, who hits it up to Peixoto. Saint Louis in defense, gets to the end line. Good block on the cross by Saint Louis. And again, up the line come Masks. Cliffgate, the goal scorer, forced inside. Can't get enough under the pass. Now Hunt up through the middle balls to Adu. Did Freddie Adu just level this? VAR will have the final say. And it will not stand. Adu just offside. Let's look at that again. While I say just offside, it is pretty obvious on second glance. So off the board for Kapstad goes the equal. Saint Louis with a heavy touch and Ashworth able to take it away, but Lamb poised and taking that opportunity, and Masks Sacré make it 2-0. Well, pouncing on that opportunity was Lamb. Obranca just left too much of it open. And I don't think Jones was ready for the shot. I don't think any of Kapstad were ready for the shot. And now Karras to stand over the corner kick for Masks. Cliffgate. Now Saint Louis takes the shot and it's right at Jones. And it's been a spicy opening 15 minutes to this African derby. Cliffgate. And a do with a good challenge to send that up the pitch. Rossini trying to get around Wolf but can't. Now here's Imanaktok. So he takes the touch and a good save from Jones to force the corner. Capstad already in a hole, cannot afford to concede again. You have to think that would be disastrous for them at this point. And that's out for a throw-in. And we near halftime. It is Mask still with the advantage on the scoreboard. 3 minutes of added time. Capstad hoping to get something going before the break. Giving themselves a little bit of a lifeline going into the second half. Adu has Peixoto out wide. That's inside. Back to Wolf. And the long shot there from Peixoto. Off the framework of the goal behind. Corner goes in for Capstad. Falls to do it. Peixoto takes the pass into Wolf, and it's rebuffed, and that is going to be it for the first half. Massacre doing a world of good for their survival hopes with a 2-0 lead on the team immediately above them in the standings. Remember, a win here would take them within 2 of Capstad, dragging the team from Cape Town into the relegation conversation. It has been a rough season for Masks, but it would be a huge result if they can get to it. What can Capstad do in the second half to try and close this gap? That pass doesn't find the mark, but they do have a corner here. It's Peixoto to deliver again. Near post. And that's nearly headed in. Cleared off the line by Rossini. It's behind for another corner. Peixoto tries again, this time rebuffed by Toadstool. Less than 30 to play. Grimace. Harris worked well for Masks, but it's rebuffed ultimately. And now a due potential for a break here. Toadstool misses the challenge. Close, trying to turn and fires from a long way out. Well, I'm not sure what the thinking was there, but it does not go in. Grimace with the intercepting header, but Capstad still with it. Vantabins. Out wide for Peixoto, who's making a run. Leo with the challenge, and that might have given them a penalty. Peixoto is down here. Physio is going to have to come on, I think. Referee is conferring with VAR. And the penalty is not given. That's a bit of a surprise. It looked like that challenge was in the box, and I suppose the VAR did not agree. Now Closa. And that falls to Revest. Wolf works it into Jang, who does force the corner. Capstad running to try and... Here's Shoto, near post, headed away by Cliffgate. Contributing at both ends as Capstad moving ahead in the XG over the last few minutes. Less than 10 to play. They've dialed up the pressure, but can they get the finish they need? Could only take one moment to swing the momentum here. Ball worked through to Adu. Adu loses it but gets it back and wins the corner. Fantabens. Now Torres. And Fantabens again carrying it through the middle. Capstad trying to find a way to break through here. Closa. And again Hunt. Peixoto trying to take the touch. It's another corner. That one's headed away. Wolf's still with it. Cross goes in, and Revest able to claim it. Masks have done very well to weather the storm here. They're only a few minutes away from a well-deserved and much-needed 3 points. There's still plenty of talent on this Capstad roster, as there is Closa nicking the ball away, dribbling into the box, takes the shot, and again deflected behind. That corner headed away by Grimes. 5 to play now. This would be a disastrous result for Capstad. Again, would take them within 2 points of the relegation battle. Cat with a good challenge there, breaking up the momentum. Peixoto gets to the end line, crosses, and it falls to Freddie Adu, who has one back for Capstad. Well, a big moment for Capstad. I said earlier, one moment could swing momentum. Have we just seen that moment? There's a cross at the end line. Revest did well to get down in front of it, but in doing so, deflected it to Freddie Adu, who finished from very close range. And now Masks finding themselves with only a 1-goal lead, 2-1, with now only about 2.5 minutes plus added time to play. San Luis. Toadstool now. And Kara sending it back to the keeper, who sends it long. Falls to Ashworth. Break here, potentially. Worked through, and Adu gets it all wrong. 3 minutes of added time here. That's how long Masks have to hold on. That's how long Capstad has to find the equalizer. Grimace out wide. Cross goes in, and Cat winning the corner for Masks. Near post. Punched away, or headed away, excuse me. And now Closa on the run for Capstad. Is this their moment? Losing out. Well, that is a bizarre turn of events. Closa seemingly let it run out of bounds. Header falls to Ashworth. Forced out wide by Toadstool. Puts the cross in. Header near button, very close range, and that's off the post and was offside regardless. That could have been the moment. That could have been the moment they needed. Klose can't bring it under control, and that is it. What a result for Matchday. 2-1, the final score. And now they move within 2 points of safety. This was the last thing Capstad needed. They were able to get one back via Freddie Adu late on, but ultimately could not get that point back. Payashota will win player of the match. Was the main creative outlet for them all day, but credit has to go to Nico Lamb and Carlac Cliffgate for Masks, providing the goals that gave them their 3 points today. What a result, and that could shake up this relegation fight considerably. 2-1 the final as Matchday get a vital win late in the season. Next up, we go to Thailand, where Krungthep take on AS Paris, who currently lead the minor league Division 1. Paris looking to try and create a little more daylight on North Shore United. Certainly they know North Shore in their rearview mirror are a dangerous proposition. Krungthep, though, no slouches. Won 3 of their last 5, as you can see there. But Paris unbeaten in 5. There's the table. The current advantage for Paris, 4 points. If they were to win and North Shore to drop points, that would be not necessarily the title over, but very much a difficult mountain for the team from New Zealand to climb. Now Kazmi losing out on the challenge. Ball over the top. Falls to Tarandis. Tarandis puts the cross in, and a good claim by Ferguson. Fensterhausen advances the pass. Sorwine onto Empire. Empire trying to finish from a tight angle. Doesn't get it right. Through ball falls to Jonathan Jameston. Well, Jameston has opened the scoring here for Paris. Let's look at that again. It was a free kick for McFootcakes. Belmont with the one-touch pass with the assist. Jameston placing that shot around Ferguson very well. Sowerwine now. Berenson. Trying to get around Stroh, puts the cross in. Empire at the far post. And Ferguson holding on. That one headed away by Stroh. And McNuggy first to it, beating out the challenge by Fensterhausen. But running into a lot of blue shirts there. Apostle nearly losing out, does get it back under control. Steiner sending it back. Now trying to find that pass behind the back line to Oliver, but couldn't quite get it on line. Paris passing back to the goalkeeper Cancelo. Now here's Berenson up the far wing. Stroh in pursuit. Berenson to the end line, puts the cross in, headed down, and it's Jameston again. Well, Jameston getting the number called the second time today. And again, a cross from the end line, headed down again by Belmont. And now Paris have a 2-0 lead inside 15 minutes. Empire. Hitting it over the top, trying to find Tarandis, who does get to it now. Forced into the corner there. Cross goes in, headed away. Kovac. Long shot, wins the corner. Empire, corner kick. Header battle in the box, and Ferguson finally claiming it. And that one ending up going wide. Fensterhausen. Tarandis. Cutting inside, takes the shot, Silver Tarandis. And Paris ending the gap, make it 3-0. Well, this was just great movement by Tarandis and a laser of a shot into the top of the net. And Paris stamping their authority on this. Ball intercepted there, Luis Jr.'s pass. McNuggy cuts it back, Stroh. The challenge from El Kazmi, and Paris winning it back again. Empire. With a good run, cuts it back, and that pass just couldn't find anyone. Bears continuing their attack. Tarandis. So Wine works it to Berenson. Berenson again with the cross, headed in by Eric Belmont. Not even 30 minutes gone, and AS Paris with a 4-0 lead on Krungtep. Well, what more can you say? Just a great header. Belmont doing well to rise above the rest of the pack. And Paris almost untouchable so far. Barely any attacking done by Krungtep so far. Now Sauerwein again to Berenson. Berenson, and that one just rolls in past the keeper. They're going to call it an own goal on Larv Itar. Well, it's been the story so far. Berenson unstoppable up that right wing for Paris, trying to cross in, and Itar getting the foot in. An unfortunate bounce, but it is 5-0 to Paris. We aren't even at halftime. Less than 2.5 to play as Al Kazmi stands over the free kick, and that's just wide. It will be a corner. Up in the air. Headed away by Kovacs. Krungtep still with possession, but nothing will come of it. Seconds to go here in this first half as Paris coming forward yet again. Empire, though, losing out to Lichtsteiner. That pass, though, poor. Belmont gets back to it. Belmont just barely over the bar. And that is going to do it for the first half. AS Paris showing an explosive quality, the kind we've come to know and expect from them. 5-0 at the half. While Paris absolutely stamping their influence on this game from the word go, showing top of the table stands. We are underway here in the second half as it's worked to Kovacs. Kovacs end line, and Ferguson saves it. Sarwine, Berenson worked around, and that shot just palmed over. That corner headed back out for Sowerwine. Good defense on the corner by Krung Tep. Kazmi dwelling on the ball too long, though, as Sowerwine wins it back. Sowerwine, and it falls to Belmont. And that's a pair for Eric Belmont, who makes it 6-0 to Paris. Well, this is just good awareness by Sowerwine to force the turnover. Dribbling in toward the center. And Belmont just camped right inside the 6-yard box. And, well, I don't think it took Eric Belmont to finish from that distance, but being a Belmont certainly does help. Go back to the end line. And that one forced behind for another corner. And that's headed in, and it's Greedy McFootcakes who credit for goal number 7 for AS Paris. And it just keeps getting worse for Krung Tep. Sowerwine on the corner, and McFootcakes doing a very good job rising above the crowd. And now McFootcakes. Kovacs. It's the end line, dribbling into the center, and another corner kick. Back out to Berenson. 1-2 with Sowerwine. Sowerwine can't keep it under control. And that long shot forced behind for a corner. And you have to think at this point the win is pretty much locked up. I mean, considering it's a 7-goal lead. Paris still pushing, though. Here's Empire. And Ferguson cutting that off. Apostle brings it forward. Lichtsteiner losing out to Empire there. Sowerwine and Berenson sit back. Just over 5 to play, and you have to think Krung Tep just wanting it to be over at this point as Belmont over the top, and that is an Eric Belmont hat trick. Fensterhausen under pressure, hit it to Sauerwein, who just sent it. Knew Belmont was down there somewhere, and what a finish that was. Ferguson, at full stretch, just couldn't get there. And McNuggy nearly working it around Cancelo, but that one hits the post. Could have at least broken the clean sheet, but nothing doing there. And El Kazmi with the frustration foul on Tarandis. And that will do it here, as Krung Tep needing a win to try and get something going for the tail end of this season, falling in huge fashion to AS Paris. Eric Belmont with the hat trick, your player of the match, also getting 2 assists as Paris blank Krung Tep. It was just one of those games for AS Paris. They took the initiative and never let go. Credit also to Dunkler Sauerwein for a hat trick of assists. Belmont also picking up 2 assists of his own. But a fantastic showing for AS Paris. And that can only help in the goal difference as well. Now we move to our final match of the day. Rapid Magyar and North Shore United. Both teams will have seen what happened in the earlier matches. Magyar now knowing that they need a really good performance here at home in order to try and catch up to Masks and potentially drag themselves out of the automatic relegation spot. Meanwhile, North Shore will know that a win is necessary to keep the deficit where it was. Currently at 7 points pending today's result. They could get it back to 4 with a win. Though at this point, North Shore will be reliant on Paris slipping up along the way. Of course, North Shore having other concerns as well in addition to the table. Star midfielder turned striker Alessandro Del Pirlo chasing 200 career goals, ideally by season's end, currently sitting on 198. But that is not the number of goals that Arsene Ngusso has. But Ngusso has one on the board potentially. Never mind, the goal is disallowed. And we can all forget that awkward segue. It's not offside, mind you. Offside it is. Del Pirlo, going back to the earlier topic, one of the most recognizable figures in the game near the end of his career, one would think, but hoping to go out with a little bit of history, trying to get that milestone while there is still time. Mustache to Del Pirlo, forced out wide. Mandragoran in defense. Work to Rashford, and Miko Rashford III might have opened the scoring. Unless VAR disallows this one as well. This one will stand. Well, Del Pirlo shielding the ball from Mandragoran, cut it back. Gaisberg's hit the ball to the 6-yard box for Rashford. Just drilled it opposite corner. Let's look at it again. And only just onside was Rashford. So it's North Shore who strike first in this match. Del Pirlo losing out there, but getting it back. Urkel. Trying to get around the fence. Mustache Maldonado can't hold on. Habjanic now up the other way for Magyar. Bamford. It's ball in behind to Space. Space cuts it back, and that's dealt with just about by North Shore. Space now on the counterattack for Rapid. Pruney out to defend. Cross at the end line. Rashford, the fourth, able to defend that. Gaisberg with the long ball. Banana takes the touch. Now James. James takes the shot, and that's just tipped wide. And that's another corner kick. And that one is put in by Greg Evil, and Rapid just got the equalizer. Well, even from the set piece, it was a bit of a surprise. Bamford hit it into the crowd, and Evil just tucking that past Brick Wall Jr. beaten at the near post. A very fine margin to do so. And so it is 1-1. Urkel hits it long. Del Pirlo passes forward to Rashford the third. Takes the cut in. Shot from Rashford, and that is saved. Now Rashford to the near post, and that's headed just over. Bamford under pressure from Urkel. Now Squid. Pass back, and that's very nearly a cataclysmic defensive breakdown. Banana just couldn't finish. It's tipped behind for the corner. Pruney gets it back around Van Grimbergen. Gets it back. Mustache Maldonado lays it off, and Gaisberg puts it just over. And that is going to do it at the half. We are level on the score sheet. Miko Rashford III got the first goal for North Shore, but Greg Evil putting one in at the other end for Rapid Magyar, and it is 1-1 at the half. This promises to be a very intriguing second half. Both teams level on the score sheet. Both teams really needing points for very different reasons. Space. Switches play to Van Grimbergen. Good challenge by Gaisberg to get that one away. Now here comes North Shore. Passes to Rashford III. Takes the shot right at ball. Habjanic losing out as Maldonado sending it to Wall. Maldonado intercepting again. Here's Rashford. But Mandragoran taking that one away. Over the top for Nguso. And Nguso from a very tight angle. And this one they get to keep. Rapid taking a 2-1 lead in the second half. This was just perfectly timed on the run by Nguso. What a shot that was as well. We'll look at it again. Nguso was ruled offside earlier. This time, no trouble staying onside. So it is Rapid Magyar 2, North Shore 1. Now at the other end, it's North Shore with an opportunity. Rashford puts the ball in. And the shot from James finds the top corner. What a finish from Brody James. And just like that, we are level again. Well, James, just an incredible finish in the top right corner of the goal. Some incredible finesse to get it into that spot. Stamp with the long ball. Falls to Maldonado. Falls, and it's Alessandro Del Pirlo with 199. Well, in the 60th minute of this match, Del Pirlo has just put North Shore ahead, and more importantly perhaps for him, has just put himself within one goal of that 200-goal milestone. And now the SSL world sits up and takes notice. James with the free kick, sending that high, wildly over the bar. Sprayed out wide. Here's Habjanic. Gets past Bamford, crosses in. Falls to Evil on the other end. Bamford. Van Grimbergen. And that is a corner kick to Rapid. Still plenty of time in this match. They've equalized already. They've taken the lead already. That one away by James. Rooney with a good challenge on Bamford to stop that attack. And now coming up the other end. Here's Banana. Hits the end line, crosses in, and that's headed behind for a corner kick. Mandragoran on the defense. James. And that comes to nothing. Out to Mustache Maldonado. Dueling with Habjanic. Pass goes in and dealt with professionally by Stamp. Less to play as North Shore pressed the attack. Worked inside, and James couldn't get that on target. Ball falls. And again, a miss by North Shore. Just over, really. 10 minutes to play. Corner goes in. And that was headed with some velocity at the goal, but Wall able to hold on. Rashford over the top, finding Rashford. Cross goes in, and Del Pirlo, and that was nearly it. Headed off the frame of the goal. So close to 200 then and there. Now at the other end, it's Bamford with the corner. Near post, and that's headed, fizzed in, but it goes wide. Bamford again on the corner as we enter 3 minutes of added time. Near post, headed in, it's Lan Mandragoran! An absolutely critical header at an absolutely critical time. And it is 3-3 in added time. And that is a dramatic equalizer for Rapid. That could have huge implications for both the title race and the relegation fight. Here's Banana, nearly putting North Shore ahead again, but firing just wide. And time is just about out. And now it is out. What a finish that was. Back and forth, an incredibly entertaining match, and it ends 3-3. Thanks to that last-minute equalizer by Lan Mandragoran. Greg Evil and Arsene Nguso with the goals for Rapid as well. What a finish that was, and a great show from Rapid, fighting tooth and nail with North Shore. Miko Rashford, the third-year player of the match, with a goal and an assist. A goal as well for Brody James, and number 199 for Alessandro Del Pirlo. Looked like it was going to be the winner until that strike by Mandragoran. So with all our matches for this match day in Division 1 wrapped up, let's take a look back at the results and how they have affected the table going into the last 3 matches of the season. We saw earlier Mescacre with that huge 2-1 win over Kapstad. Paris absolutely dominant, could not be stopped, 8-0 over Krung Thep. And of course, we just saw that fantastic 3-3 draw between Rapid Magyar and North Shore United. And the gap between Paris and North Shore now 6 points. Paris all but sewing up the league title today. Meanwhile, at the other end, Kapstad only 2 points ahead of Masks in 5th place. Rapid also moving up within striking distance of getting out of that automatic relegation place. Well, there is still clearly a lot left to fight for, a lot to play for in the final match days of this season. We hope you'll join us as we near the end of the season. Until next time, this has been Metafiction. Take care.